Hi, I'm Brin. I'm from bigender.net. It's been like 3 weeks, I think, since my last video, and I was getting over some illness, and I had family stuff, and Thanksgiving was in there, but I finally had the opportunity to record another one. So, what I wanted to talk about tonight, and you'll notice I'm not in my big blue chair facing the same wall. I had to reorient a little because it is Christmas time, and I'm an atheist, but my family celebrates Christmas, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. Anyway, that's way off topic. The topic for today is how to be a good ally. One of the very first emails that I got, messages that I got when I started doing these videos was from Trevor Hohen. He says, "Hey, I found one of your videos on LiveJournal and I thought it was fascinating. I was on the site in the first place because I want to understand transgender people, because I really want to stand up and support them. You. I know you guys go through so much more hell than most LGBT people do, and as a result, you guys become such beautiful, strong individuals. I'm currently reading the book Transparent, which I love, by the way, deeply raw and insightful." I did look up the book and I forgot to take an actual look at it, and you know, getting kind of information to talk about in the video, but maybe I can do that for a future video. Anyway, he says, it's deeply raw and insightful. And I was wondering, I know so many trans people don't get the support they need and deserve, and if I were to ever run into someone who I knew was transgender, how would I go about encouraging or letting them know that I am empathetic to what they're going through and am here for them without coming off as fraudulent or artificial? I'm sorry that's sort of a strange question, but I'm serious. If it came out wrong, I apologize. I mean well, regardless of the tone of my message. Anywho, thank you for your time. God bless, Trevor. Thanks for the email, Trevor. I really appreciate it. I think what Trevor was talking about was if he were to spot a trans person in a grocery store or out in public, and how to approach them and let him know that he's an ally. The thing is that you can be a good ally. There's ways of being a good ally. As for approaching a stranger that you suspect is trans and letting them know you're a good ally, the best way to do it is not. Don't do it. If I'm out in public and I get clocked, that is, someone, you know, pings me as trans, and they come up to me and say, I think you're really, you're doing a really good job, or you make a really pretty woman, which I have gotten. I find it embarrassing, because the last thing I want to do when I go out is have it pointed out that I'm not looking as good that day as perhaps I could, or that I'm obvious to everybody in the world. You know, if I'm having a bad day, that's really not going to make it better. And it doesn't matter really how well-meaning you are. It's not good. But you can be a good ally. There are ways to be a good ally. First and foremost is to listen, and you're a good trans ally in the same way that you're a good LGBT ally. Listen, don't presume that because you are in a privileged position that you have the power to confer some kind of comfort or safety on a trans person. All that happens is it makes it an awkward exchange for everyone. Actually, Ricky Ann Wilkins had it put it really good in her list, 21 things not to say to a transsexual. Number 3 is, number 3, well, I want you to know that I certainly consider you a woman. Her response is, it is a never-ending source of wonderment that well-intentioned and otherwise very well brought-up people say this to me, with a light of total sincerity in their eyes for which any self-respecting cocker spaniel would kill. Unfortunately, this assurance turns on at least 4 assumptions which, upon closer inspection, prove to be unfounded. A. My gender is a subject about which reasonable people might be expected to reasonably differ. B. My gender is a topic that is currently open for discussion. C, my gender and your perception of it is something about which I am seeking some reassurance. And D, you, since you are a non-transsexual, are in just the providential position of providing me with this reassurance I so desperately seek. Basically, we're not looking for approval of cisgendered people any more than to validate our existence than gay people are looking for straight people to validate their existence, or any other privileged to non-privileged relationship. I know that you mean well when you say things like that, but it's not okay. The best way to think about it is to consider if someone had said the exact same thing to you, and by you I mean cisgendered person. If someone says the same thing to you, are you going to take offense? Because the fact is, if you do, you probably will too. Don't ask the questions about surgery. Don't ask about hormones. Don't ask about medical information, and don't ask about what's in their pants or skirt, for that matter. It's not your business. I don't want to know what you're carrying around in your pants. You really don't get to know what I'm carrying around in mine. I asked a couple of my friends if they had any advice. The first one was listen. Listen with love, and be willing to provide the support when asked. Just let, and this goes for people that you know, and you know are trans. Ideally, this is something that happens after after someone has come out to you, to let you know that they are trans, or after letting you know that they're trans. What you can do is just make sure that they know you are here to provide them whatever support they need. Let them come to you. If you hear people making jokes about trannies or about drag queens, or even fag, queer, all of those, if you and your friends are making those jokes, stop. Challenge people when you hear them making those jokes. Don't use the word tranny ever. It's historically speaking, it's been a very, very derogatory phrase that's thrown at trans women. Even in the trans community, where there's some discussion about reclaiming the word, there's a lot of anxiety about female to male spectrum trans folk using the word tranny to describe themselves, because historically speaking, it has been something that's been flung at trans women almost exclusively to cause pain as a preemption to violence and other trans bashing and transphobic actions. So if you're cis, don't say tranny ever. So if you hear someone saying hot tranny mess, tell them to stop, and it's not okay. The only people who get to reclaim it are the ones that it's been thrown at. So I don't particularly care for the word. I do sometimes say it, but I'm kind of in that position. Learn all you can about trans issues. The internet is a wonderful resource. If you're watching this, obviously you have the internet. You can go to, I believe it's tsroadmap.com, which is a great site that has all kinds of information about what HRT is, what kind of changes are expected, what is required of a trans person who is seeking to begin transition, all the steps that are involved in transition itself. Not to mention, there's a lot of other information just about trans life in general. Go there. Go to other support sites. Just learn all that you can from the sources that are available online, or at a library, or wherever. Join trans support organizations. But keep in mind that just because you have put in the effort to learn information about trans life in general. It doesn't entitle you to know about any specific trans person's personal details, like surgery, like hormones, like transitioning plans. That's not your business. If they choose to share it, if you are such good friends that they decide to share it with you, then that's their business, but you are not entitled to know it just by virtue of being a cisgendered person. And people have asked me about cisgendered. Cisgendered means non-transgendered, i.e. your gender identity aligns with the gender you were assigned at birth based on your sex characteristics, your genitalia. So it is a boy-shaped person that feels like a boy inside, a girl-shaped person that feels like a girl inside. Cis and trans are opposite terms in science, and the trans community has adopted cisgendered to represent people who aren't transsexual or transgendered, because it's better than defining them as a non, definition by negation. It's better than saying non-transgender people or non-transsexual people, because that normalizes non-trans folk and others trans folks. It makes us feel like we're not like other humans, or we're not human like others. So trans and cis are both are somewhat opposite, but they're both human. So everybody's involved, and we don't feel like there's the normal people and then all of us. So when I say cisgendered or cissexual, that's what that's referring to. Non-transgender, non-transsexual. But that's really the best part of being an ally, is just learning the information. Don't say things like, normal, or tranny, or you're a woman to me, or you're a man to me, because the fact is they're a woman or a man independent of what you think. So be there to support your friends. Don't approach somebody that you only suspect is trans, because the human shape covers a wide variety of forms, and it's going to be very embarrassing for all parties involved, regardless of whether or not you're right or you're wrong. If you're right and that person is trans, then they're uncomfortable because they got clocked. If you're wrong and that person is cis, they're uncomfortable because you called them trans and called out that they're perhaps not as pretty or handsome as somebody else. So I think that's it. I guess I don't have anything else. Keep the questions and emails coming. I've really enjoyed doing these videos. I hope to get another one in before Christmas. And if you guys provide me feedback, I have things to make more info about. So you can send me a note on YouTube. You can find me at bigender.net. I'm Brin there. I am the administrator. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning. You can send me a video response. You can leave a comment on my videos. I look forward to hearing from everyone. I'm really enjoying the interactions I've had here. Trevor, thank you very much for your question. I really do appreciate it. I hope I answered yours. And if you have any questions specifically, feel free to contact me directly. Thanks. Bye.